Hello, social media navigators. Wait. No, not those guys today, not today. Today I want to make this video slightly different because I want to get right to it because of an exciting, amazing, and so far best experience of 2023. I know it's just barely the first month as of the filming of this video, but it sure has been the best way to start 2023. I got invited to go to a soft opening of the Super Nintendo World in Universal Studios Hollywood. If you're not familiar with this term, soft opening is pretty much a testing phase where the theater, venue, or theme park in this case is still testing the rides, the attractions, and other features within the vicinity. So should something not go as planned, at least there's no general public in harm's way. For the Super Nintendo World, it was just an exclusive preview to the Universal Studios Hollywood employees and their families or guests. But before we get started, I'm gonna please ask you to please excuse my shaky camera work as I was too flabbergasted, anxious, trembling, and excitement upon entering the Super Nintendo World and its souvenir stores. So let's get started. Upon arriving to Universal Studios, we had to go to a designated area they had for us, guests, to get a special bracelet that would give us access to Super Nintendo World. Since the Super Nintendo World is pretty much open to the view of the general public now, down at the park, only those with the bracelet could get in. Once again, pardon my camera shaking, I was too excited as we were descending on the long escalators. Just in case you're not familiar with the Universal Studios Hollywood landscape, this theme park sits atop of a hill for which it is divided into separate lots, an upper and lower lot. Super Nintendo World is at the very end of the lower lot for which you see us here taking the escalator. Now, these are not your typical department store escalators. The distance alone between the upper and lower lot is about a quarter mile. Although it may not seem like a lot, even as a walking distance, going up or down a set of stairs consisting of about 350 steps, it's not an easy task from that perspective. Sometimes the escalators get too crowded, so it is quicker to go up or down the flight of stairs. Although not drawn here on the map, trust me, there are stairs alongside the escalators. And 350 steps, it's about an 18-story building. Upon approaching Super Nintendo World, you see Nintendo-themed snack and souvenir shops with all sorts of goodies. Here we are, entering Super Nintendo World with some scaffolding yet in place as they are yet finishing and touching up some of the exterior aesthetics. For the first time since my childhood, I felt like a kid again, walking into this fantasy world wonderland I never imagined I would experience as an adult. Very first thing you see as you enter through Princess Peach's castle are these Mario 64 mirrors. With today's technology, they look so awesome and like real-like mirrors. There was a good number of people, though it was just an exclusive event. It seemed like it was packed, but I gotta say, the area overall is pretty small. Not disappointed, as I kind of already had an idea because from the time they announced a Super Nintendo World in Universal Studios Hollywood, it was the very first question I asked myself. Where in the world, pun intended, are they gonna build Super Nintendo World? Here's the map from Google Maps for you to see how small it is. The area occupied by Jurassic World, the ride, and the ride alone is twice as big as the whole Nintendo World area. Damn, even the Mummy ride, building, or stage they call it, is almost just as big. I'm not sharing these to pick on the Super Nintendo World area. I'm rather trying to inform you of it should you be interested to visit Super Nintendo World in the future. The reason is that I wouldn't be surprised they may require reservations to enter Super Nintendo World. Neither could my friend who works for Universal could confirm or, as per the date of my visit mid-January, that a reservation would be required. So please, Do not take my word on whether or not a reservation will be required, but I wouldn't be surprised given the multitudes of visitors Universal gets on a daily basis, in comparison to the size or maximum Super Nintendo World occupancy. I can't imagine a possible way they could allow even a quarter of the theme park's day attendance. So take it as a heads up, so you can plan or visit accordingly or trip if you come from out of state. While Super Nintendo World is kind of small, there are lots of interactions and activities you can do when you get yourself a power-up band, which I'll talk about in a bit later. Super Nintendo World is full of Easter eggs, fan-based service details you can easily miss if you don't keep your eyes open. Even for me, as someone who deliberately wanted to look for such features, I would have missed quite a few if they hadn't been pointed out to me. How many can you spot in the following video clips and pictures? Heading into the Mario Kart ride. Let's go! Here we are entering the Mario Kart ride, which, by the way, it's the only ride in Super Nintendo World. But the amount of detail into the architecture of these rooms was just off the charts. From the classic Super Mario music tunes to the actual number of props was just phenomenal. Every area in Super Nintendo World has a reference or a prop from every single Super Mario game, from the very first Super Mario game up to Super Mario Odyssey. Whether it was the music playing on the background or a particular room aesthetic or a souvenir shop merchandise, there was always something for you to spot or recognize. Again, how many can you spot on these videos and pictures? This was a room I really got a kick out of. It was to resemble a factory where the bombs and bullet bills are manufactured. Wow. This is a room where Lakito instructed and guided us on how to make the best out of a Mario Kart ride. It sure was a hell of an experience. To date, the best, and I mean by far the best interactive theme park ride experience I've ever had. This may sound like a fanboy speaking, but I am not one. I assure you of that, because Mario Kart the ride, titled Bowser's Challenge, is not just a driving simulator ride. This is an augmented reality ride, not a 3D ride, not a 4D ride, not a virtual reality ride. On Bowser's Challenge, you are not just steering left and right. This is not just an interactive but extremely immersive with everything that goes on while you're on the ride. You just don't turn your head left and right to throw Koopa shells. You have to turn your head all around, up and down, because it's not just an X-axis. You need to keep an eye open for items to collect or rivals to throw shells at. Now, if you happen to snag one power-up band from any of the souvenir shops around, any coins you collect around the ride will go directly into your Universal Studios Super Nintendo World app. This app keeps track of coins, trophies, and stamps collected along the Super Nintendo World interactive activities. And trust me, there are lots and lots and lots of stamps to collect because, like I said a couple minutes ago, if you don't keep your eye open for hubs where you can tab your power-up band, you sure will miss lots of these cool app rewards.
No more coins. Goombas!
This is a Koopa Troopa Power Punch where you have to time your punch to the POW block so that the spinning green shell goes up the pipe and hit the other POW block for you to get a key. I'll talk about these keys in a minute.
First try! Thank you.
This is the Piranha Plant Nap Mishap. Here, you have to prevent the alarm clocks from going off so that the piranha plant doesn't wake up. But there are about 10 of these alarm clocks around that you have to run back and forth to disarm them, which is best accomplished by no less than 2 or 3 persons at a time. This is no task by any means for a single person. Trust me on that. This is the Goomba Crazy Crank that unfortunately, by the time we got to it, it broke. There, you see the technicians working on it, but it was not fixed by the time we left. Here, you have to crank the lever on the side to make the spinning platform spin faster than the Goomba can walk on it. If you succeed at it, then you'd get a key. Now, about these keys you collect. If you collect a minimum of 3, then you would be able to proceed to Bowser's Jr. Shadow Showdown boss battle. Say that 3 times in a row. You don't have to have one of these power-up bands to experience this attraction, but only if you do and succeed at it, then you'll collect a golden mushroom, to which my demise I didn't because I got destroyed and kept getting hit by bullet bills once inside. I won't spoil too much of what the interactive experience is all about, but I'm telling you, as a fan service they did on this attraction, it was really a blasting fun. Super Nintendo World has only one way in and one way out of the area. This is our departure from Super Nintendo World that you bet I'll be coming back to in the future. These stores have your typical plushies, t-shirts, cups and other goodies you may or may not be able to find elsewhere. The only thing in here is that they have the official Super Nintendo World tag on them. Nevertheless, there were lots of goodies for all preferences and tastes. afterwards, we stopped by a couple of souvenir shops, gift shops, looked around, and of course, picked up a few things. And my fave was this Super Mario Kart hoodie. And although pricey as you might expect from these theme park souvenir shops, I knew I had to get it over anything else on the gift shop because these are one of a kind that I have not seen anywhere else. If there's one thing that I would have loved to see more of at the Super Nintendo World, is more merchandise of other Nintendo properties, such as Legend of Zelda, Hello, Metroid, Animal Crossing, although not a big fan, but for those who are, Kirby and or others that I'm sure many fans would love to see. Not to mention and to reiterate that Super Nintendo World, it's pretty small. It was probably a really hard decision to try to bring in and compact and bombard the little area with many other IPs. But I understand there's no better way to go all out on Super Mario, since that was pretty much all the Super Nintendo World is all about, since the movie is coming out later this year. But if I happen to go back at a later time, I sure would love to see many other character varieties other than just those from the Super Mario Bros. Universe. So, nonetheless, I had a blast and I should recommend these to all gamers, retro gamers, new gen gamers. Whether you are a Nintendo enthusiast or not, I truly believe that these will go down in the books as one of the top attractions to visit when you take a trip to Universal Studios Hollywood, California. No, I'm not getting paid for these. This is not sponsored by Universal Studios Hollywood, even if I made it sound like it was. It's not. But you know what to do until next time. You go ahead and take care of yourselves. Go ahead and take care of your loved ones. And you know what to do. Game on. Game on.